Greetings in the name of Yahuwah and His Son Yahushua Mashiach. My name is Malak Shalomo, and today is the 6th of January 2024, and I'm going to do a trade recap I did on Friday, which is yesterday on the ES futures. So let's jump into this here. Right, so we're in a downtrend right here, right, on the 5-minute chart. Moving into yesterday, let's see here. Let's look at the money zone, the market profile setup. So we're in a lower value relationship. We have value area high at 47.55.25 or 47.55.21. Value area low is at 47.45.81, right? So in the ETH, we were moving down. We had a downtrend in the ETH as well, right? And then we had NFP come out at 8:30, right? So when NFP came out, we started to get this reversal here, like a V reversal, and strong buying started to come in, right? So let's see here. All right, so let's look at the Camarilla setup as well. Or first, let's look at the central pivots, right? So we have the central pivot here at 47.41. Bottom central is at 47.46.75, and top central is at 47.35.25, right? So let me just point those out. Right, so bottom central, central pivot, and top central, right? Those are the numbers right there. Right, so let's see what kind of setup this was. This was in a lower value relationship where the central pivot on the prior day, Thursday, was 47.59.50. Top central was at 47.53, right? So you can see right here, it's a lower value relationship. No overlapping of the central pivot levels. So we're in a lower value looking for continuation to the downside, right? That's the thesis that it's suggesting. So let's look at the Camarilla setup. Right, so the Camarilla setup is in a overlapping lower value relationship where the Camarilla R3 of Thursday moved down in Friday, but it didn't move down past Camarilla S3 on the prior day. And Camarilla S3 also moved down. So this here didn't push further than Camarilla S3, which is making it an overlapping lower value relationship, which is that's moderately bearish, right? So the two others, the money zone is fully bearish. Central pivot is fully bearish in their lower value relationships on the day, but the Camarillas are in a overlapping lower value relationship, so that's moderately bullish on its thesis for the day, right? So that means that there is a possibility of the downtrend getting support at like these Camarilla S4, Camarilla S3 levels, right? So that's one mistake I made on a trade right here. So after the NFP came in and we had this strong buy in here, I took this short here. Let me see. Let me do this real quick. Right. So excuse me. Let me put the pivots on. And let me put the money zone on. Right. I also used the VWAP bands in my strategy, but I didn't really adhere to the strategy properly. So let me just point this out. Right. So this is a reversal pattern here on the second lower deviation band. That's that darker green line. This brighter green is the first lower deviation. So this is a significant reversal pattern here at this second lower deviation. We're getting the buying after NFP coming up here to Camarilla S3, right? So excuse me. So Camarilla S3 is here at 47.1864. So what I decided to do was, since Camarilla S3 is in an overlapping lower value relationship, I decided to short here with it being formally being support. If it's above, if price is above, if it's coming from below, it's going to act as resistance, right? In a overlapping lower value relationship. But the buying was so strong that I got stopped out here, right? So I did a sell at 47.1825, and then I had to cover at 47.2275. So all of this here was a big mistake, because all of this is a reversal pattern at these lower deviation bands, Camarilla S4, which is that bright green 4707.77. So that neon green line right there, plus the lower deviation band is that green line as well. And we're getting strong buying pushing through VWAP as well, right? So buyers are aggressive, and I shouldn't have taken this short here because the Camarilla setup is moderately bearish. So with the buyers moving against it like this, this wasn't a good trade, because the setup is basically showing a buy setup, right? So that was a mistake on the day right there. Finally came up here to Camarilla R3 and central pivot, which is my setup, right? This is this is a reversal setup, but let me just drop down to the 1 minute. Right, so we're in an overlapping lower value relationship on the Camarillas. R3 is supposed to be resistance. Central pivot is in a lower value relationship. That's supposed to be resistance as well, coming from the bottom, right? So we got a double top here basically, right? So I took a short, but this is the thing about the short here. The short is happening on like the first break of the second upper deviation band, right? So with all this bullishness happening here, this is like a good setup, but yet still I had to be a little mindful of the bearish the bullishness, right? So this is a setup here when I take, like, it's a Camarilla R3 rejection, double top, take the short here on the break of the second upper deviation band, which is breaking the uptrend, but the buyers came in strong and had to stop out here. So the sell was at 47.36 and covered here at 47.39.75 when the big buying came in, right? So that was a decent setup, but yet still it failed, because, you know, probabilities are what they are, you know what I'm saying? So on a different occasion, this trade would work where it breaks the upper deviation, the uptrend fails at Camarilla R3 and the central pivot, which is a golden pivot zone, and we would come back down this way, right? We would start breaking the first upper deviation, VWAP, and probably get back to Camarilla S3 right here at 47.1864, right? So that didn't work out that time. Right, so this is now the last trade I took, which was basically the end of the uptrend, right? So the value area high is at 47.5521, right? That's that purple line right there. We came up here, we had this reversal pattern happening. I started selling here. I took 4 sell positions right there on the rejection of value area high. So remember, value area high is in a lower value relationship. We're in a bearish trend. So any pullbacks to these levels, like value area high, value area low, is a short setup, right? So one mistake I did here was I started to sell here above the second upper deviation band, right? Which all of this here above this level is still bullish. Even though we're getting this reversal here, this is a premature entry. So I guess I was a little overconfident, but this trade actually worked. But it could have worked in a better way by executing the setup a little differently, right? Because I should have waited for confirmation, because after I took these trades here, I entered 4 positions, actually caught one on the break of the second upper deviation band, right? But I had to go through this consolidation, which kind of pushed up to like my stop loss, right? So what I should have did in the bullishness that the market was in after NFP, I should have waited here for confirmation of this breakdown, right? I should have waited a little bit because this was a little premature entry, right? So as we showed that we were staying below this second upper deviation band, I should have entered somewhere around here when we got this reversal and the breakdown of the value area high, because now it's setting up different where it's not above the second upper deviation. We're actually showing the weakness below it, right? And then we're breaking value area high. So this would have been a better entry, right? And I wouldn't have to go through like waiting on this consolidation happening here or this auction, right? So eventually caught the trade, and we moved down to, we broke through the golden pivot zone, Camarilla R3 central pivot, and I had to kind of start trailing my stop down when we broke VWAP. And let's see here, I exited the position here at 47.3450. So my average price was like around 47.50 short side. Took 4 contracts and came down here to 47.3450, right? So that was my exit right there on this candle, right? So when we found support, let me see 1 second here if I'm right. So we found support here at yesterday's close. This is this purple cross line right there, and we started to bounce and get the reversal from there. So I decided to just close the trade because it was a lot of profit in the bank already. So I decided to close the trade. My actual target, and I had to leave to go to work. So my actual target was 47.22, right, just above this VWAP lower deviation band right here. So we actually did get to the target, right? So this is one thing I'm noticing about like my technical analysis and stuff, is when I set a trade or when I do a trade and I set a target, I usually get the target, right? But sometimes, you know, normal market price action, you get certain pullbacks and consolidations like this this here, right? So I couldn't manage the trade. I had to go to work. So I closed when we got that buying right there, right? But what I could have done was hold the stop above VWAP. So if we get back above VWAP, I could have closed, right? And that would have kept me in the trade to get down to this lower deviation band, which was my actual target at just above it at 47.22, right? That's what I wanted to get. And it did come down to that level, and that's where we actually got the bounce at the lower deviation, came back up to R3, then came back down to the lower deviation again, bounced up a little bit again up to Camarilla R3 and the golden pivot zone just above VWAP, and that's how we closed out the day. So I just needed a little more time to manage this trade, and it was a good trade. It was just one mistake with the, I guess, a little premature entry with shorting above the second upper deviation band here. But all in all, it was a good trade. And next time I probably have to be a little more patient and wait for this entry right here, which is a much better entry, right? All right, y'all. So it's Malak Shalomo, just breaking down my strategies and doing a little trade recap here. It's basically like a video journal. So all of these stuff I actually did in my journal already. And Looking forward to next week where I can improve on this as well. All right, y'all. So y'all have a good weekend, and I'm gonna see y'all Monday. Stay blessed.